Hello and welcome to another Capture the Flag edition of Daryl Show Your Work, episode 155 to be exact. All right, so continuing on with the overall theme of maintaining persistence on a compromised Linux host. In this video, I'll be focusing more on using cron jobs as a vector of maintaining that persistence to an already compromised Linux-based host. And those who may have been following me for a while may have seen I've done a previous video on how to use cron jobs to elevate user privileges. But again, in this instance, still focusing on post exploitation, I'm going to be showing how we could then use that as a means to use the cron jobs as a means to maintain access to that compromised host. All right, so just to give a brief overview of what cron is. It's a time-based service that runs applications, scripts, and other commands repeatedly at a specified on a specified schedule, and it doesn't require elevated privileges in order to create a cron job. So this is one of the few instances where you actually don't have to have elevated privileges in order to use this as a mechanism of persistence. All right, but before I could go any further in showing how this can be done, since I am talking about post-exploitation activity, I am going to preface this video with my user's disclaimer by saying that this is for ethical, educational, research purposes only. Any sort of malicious activity that may directly or indirectly come from someone watch this video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so I'm going to be continuing on with the same scenario that I did in my most recent video, where I've already prior to recording, I've already compromised our target host, and I've already gained some clear text credentials. As far as logging in using SSH, so that's going to be the mechanism that I'm going to be using to make initial contact to make initial contact with our target host, and again allow me to focus less on the exploitation method of this and focus more on post exploitation activity, which in this case is going to be um, maintaining persistence. All right, so one thing I am going to do is I am going to do some discovery here. So I'm going to obtain my IP address and just show how the target host, how I was able to define the target host here on this local subnet. All right, so since I'm using the Ethernet 1 interface here, I am 192, 112, 189.2 in terms of IP address. So I'm going to copy this, and what I'm going to do next is modify the 2 at the end of this IP address to turn into a 0/24, and that's going to be representative of my CIDR. And so I'm going to give that CIDR I'm going to use that CIDR in order to conduct a ping sweep of my local subnet, and it's going to basically send out a ping or ICMP packets to all the devices that are connected, and whoever's up and running is going to respond back, and that's how I'm going to deduce who to choose as the target host. Again, I know this information, but just wanted to show how it is that I arrived at finding my target host. So the mechanism I'm going to be using to do this ping sweep, I'm going to be using fping. So I'm going to say fping -a -g, and so I'm going to give it my IP address, and like I said, I'm going to modify this 0/24. It's going to send those ping packets out to everyone and see, and those who are up and running is going to respond back to me. So as usual, dot one, dot two, and dot three responded back. Dot one more than likely being the gateway, so I want to maintain my internet access, so I'm not going to fool with that. Dot two being myself, and dot three being the target. All right, so that's how it is that I was able to find my target. Now I'm actually going to use the clear text credentials that I found in order to log into make a SSH connection to our target host here. So I'm gonna say SSH, and then the username of the account that I found is the student. And I'm gonna say at, and I'm gonna paste in my IP address and change this 2 to a 3 since we know that's the target now, and hit enter. I'm gonna say yes. All right, so the password is literally password. So I'm gonna write that in. All right, so now I'm inside of our target host. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to do some initial enumeration just to see what's in our immediate current working directory here in the home directory of the student account. So I'm gonna do a list all. All right, so those who watched my previous video may be familiar with this wait script. Those who aren't, I'm going to explain what that is. All right, so the wait script is basically is what I'm going to be using in order to prove that the effectiveness of the persistence mechanism. So once I base actually create the persistence create the cron job that's going to enable me to continue to go in and out of the system anytime I want, then I'm going to execute this wait script. And what's going to happen when I execute the wait script is going to essentially reset the password here and lock me out. And I'm no longer going to be able to use the username and password combination as a means to authenticate into this machine. And I have to rely 100% on the persistence mechanism that I'm going to create here through the use of cron. All right. So the next thing I want to do is I want to be able to see what current cron jobs are in existence on this system. So I'm gonna say cat to display the contents of the Etsy cron directory, but I want to put a wildcard asterisk here, and that's basically going to list out all files with the naming convention cron in it. It's going to list that out and tell me what's currently here, and it should also show the actual jobs themselves, and it does. All right, so we can see here that says that cron.d is a directory, cron.daily is a directory, cron.hourly is a directory, monthly and weekly, they're both directories. All right, and then it's showing me the actual cron job here, and so it looks like they all are being set up and execute by the root user. And so we have a daily job, we have a weekly job, and we have a monthly job. All right. And so and we see some asterisks here. I'm gonna explain exactly what's going on here in my next step. So the next thing that I'm actually going to be doing, I'm going to actually write out a command that's going to create a cron job, and I'm going to write it out first, and then I'm going to explain what each part of that command does, since it's fairly long, and I didn't want to slow things up by trying to break things down as I'm going. All right, so just bear with me for a few seconds here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. All right. All right. All right. So what's happening here is so with the asterisks, all right, we see the same asterisks here. So we see in this instance I've put 5 asterisks in a row. So these asterisks are actually acting as a wild card. So basically I'm telling Linux I want to create a cron job that's going to run every minute of every hour of every day of every month of every day of the week. All right. So this first asterisk represents minutes. Represent the second one represents hours. The third represents a specified day of the month. The fourth represents a month, and the fifth represents a day of the week. So where we see up here, where we see numbers in some of the cases where the asterisk would be, um, and then we only see in this instance they're like using 3. Okay, so if we go by the logic that I just said, it's basically telling the system, let's say in this third job here, to basically run every minute of every hour, but on Saturday, given that it counts Saturday as the last day of the week, 7. All right. So where with me, I'm doing a bit more granular here and adding more categories, and I'm saying I want you to run it at every possible interval here. All right. So again, this asterisk operates as more of a wild card, where if I wanted to specify an actual, let's say, day of the week or month or an amount of minutes or hours, I would replace the asterisk with the actual value of that of that um interval. All right. So in this instance, I want it to run as often as possible, because that's what's going to ensure, when we're talking about persistence, that's what's going to ensure that I can pretty much get onto the system anytime that I want, and I don't have to wait at a potential for a potential day to roll around or a potential hour, whatever. If it's running every minute of every hour of every day of every month, then I pretty much know for sure that all I have to do is wait a couple of minutes to an hour to gain access to this. All right. So what's gonna happen is that this is going to hold on, I just realized the okay, let's get rid of that. Okay. Anyway, what's going to happen is that this is going to, every time it runs, it's going to change to the student home directory, and it's going to host that home student directory. It's going to use Python to host that as a simple web server, and that's what's going to enable me to be able to gain access to that. All right. So all right, so once I've told Linux to do this, then it's going to put this whole command into a file called cron, and I'm going to be using this file from here on out to interact with the overall process of getting this set up, and um and then so I don't have to worry about keep typing this whole command over with. Everything's going to be within this cron file here. All right, so all right, so now let me check the local directory to make sure that that's in there. All right, looks like the cron job's in there. Let's just make sure that everything is all right as far as the content in the actual cron file. All right, everything is there. All right, let's see. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to um, I want to basically remove this wait. I think it is time to remove this wait script here, so I can test to if see if I can maintain persistence now and not have to depend on logging in using the clear text credentials. All right, let's see. Before I do that though, I want to check one more thing. I want to run. See, I'm gonna say cron tab. Almost screw something up here. Cron tab dot I, and then I'm gonna specify the file name. And what this is going to do is actually going to add the file, this cron file, to the cron tab and making it an active cron job. All right. And then so I did not want to remove that file before doing so, and I could check this to make sure that that is running as a cron job. So I'm gonna say cron tab dash L. All right, good. Looks like that's running. All right, now I'm going to actually remove remove that wait job. So I'm gonna say rm wait. All right, and this should kick me out. All right, it did. All right, now well, I'm gonna run an nmap scan, and let's see now if that if there's any HTTP ports that are open. That's going to let me know that that persistence mechanism did work, and then I could do some further exploit. Excuse me, some more further exploration beyond that. All right, so I'm gonna run that, and basically I'm gonna tell it to come back with any port that's available, and that is not good. Uh, well, let me see. Let me run it again because it's supposed to be running. Oof. Let me see. There we go. All right, there it is. All right. So if I say, let me see if I can make a visit there. If I would say, see what was that? Let me see. I could just paste it from here. See, the only problem is it may or may not because it's running every minute. So there we go. All right. So now look at there. All right. So I'm actually in there. I'm actually into the back into the target host, but not on the command line, and I actually reached it through my browser. So what happened is that now that directory is being hosted online through port 8000, and I was able to find that open port here. I had to basically, when I kept running nmap over and over and over again, that was me basically waiting to see when that cron job would run in order for port 8000 to be available to me, or any HTTP related port. So in this instance, it ended up being port 8000, and that's what basically allowed me to get on back onto the machine. But this time I was able to get on through my browser. So anytime that I want, all I have to do is type in the target's IP address, know to connect to port 8000, and I'm right here on it. And so remember, this is a capture the flag edition. So let's click on this, and there's the value of the flag. And as I always say, the flag can represent any sort of sensitive material or information or data that you don't want everybody to have, or unauthorized people to have. So once they get access to it, they can modify it, delete it, copy it, exfiltrate it, fill in the blank as far as bad, evil thing they can do with the information you don't want them to have. All right. So basically, just to give a high level overview of what I did here, uh, basically showed how I was able to find my target host here. I already had clear test credentials in order to gain access to the said host, and once I got in, showed the different cron jobs that were already running on the system here, but they were all associated with root. Created my own cron job, basically which every time it runs, it causes the home directory of the student account to basically be hosted by a simple HTTP server, a Python server. All right, and once I was able to verify that that's up and running, then I tested this out by completely removing my access to the SSH protocol, to the target host, and then relying solely on this cron job, which it took me a few seconds for me to have to wait in order for that cron job to run. A few attempts to do that nmap scan, but eventually port 8000 became available because the cron job was running at every minute of every hour. All right, and then that's how I was able to then use my browser, connect here to port 8000 of the target's machine's IP address, and then gain access here to the flag. Now, I also wanted to show how want to just show how I can no longer authenticate using SSH. So you can just know that this persistence mechanism works. All right. So if I try to go through what I did do if I try to access this the way that I did before, all right, and I try to give it the same password. All right, we can see I no longer have permission because that wait command basically changed the password on me, and now I don't know what that is, and I'm locked out. All right, so I can while I can no longer enter in that way, I can enter in through my browser now because this is being hosted online through the use of a Python simple web server. All right, so please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.